Nuance nostalgia, it's a 90s vibe. Come and tap in, we keeping it live. Nuance nostalgia, it's the 90s vibe. Come and tap in, we keeping it live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Nuance Nostalgia here in the new podcast studio.
We have been having technical difficulties. I was not ready, but yes.
So we're supposed to be back about a month ago, and we're not even sure this episode's going to record. I'm going to have to re-record it tomorrow. We're going to try our best.
Yeah, you know, we do what we can.
Yeah, so we've been remodeling in here, so that put us back, and then we went on a trip, and then we worked weekends, and here we are, finally, a month later.
We are working people, believe it or not. Yes, right here used to be a bed. So
yes,
so disassemble it.
We have a whole game room here now in the recording studio. We got a nice neon sign. We actually have two of them because of a problem with Etsy.
Yeah,
we got one for free. But yeah, so we are here to finally get back to our Shrek talk. We're going to be talking about 2004's Shrek 2. And by the way, I'm Nick Norris, and with me is my girlfriend, the princess of the kingdom of far, far away herself, Caitlin Fiona Shortall.
Fiona, nice.
Yes.
hello, yes.
Now you picked the Shrek movies.
Yeah.
So is this one is your favorite?
This one is way better in my opinion than the first one. I feel like that's universally agreed on. Maybe not, but yeah, I love this one a lot. I think it's so funny. And it's like the first one's funny, but I think this one is more timeless in how funny it is. You know what I mean? The first one, like we said, had a lot of like references for the time. Mm-hmm. A lot of them went over my head even now. So,
and this one still has a bit of that, but this one they're much more conscious of that. It feels like instead there are some things like they reference the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase, which is really funny.
And I also still didn't even get that until you told me that. I didn't
they reference cops. There's a lot of good things in here, but
cops. I recognize that.
For the most part, they parody fairy tales in this, timeless fairy tales, and that's kind of what between making the fairy godmother evil and Prince Charming kind of a mama's boy dunce, and so but we'll talk about all of that as we go along. But on a budget of about $150 million, it made $932 million at the worldwide box office, making it the highest-grossing film of 2004 and the highest-grossing animated film of all time at the time. That record was later broken by Toy Story 3, and it's been broken
probably
2 or 3
since,
times.
Frozen and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Finding Dory 2, and now it's Super Mario, I think. Mario
that checks out. Yeah.
But critically did super well too. Wikipedia says Shrek 2 received positive reviews from critics, has a approval rating of 89% based on 239 professional reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, with an average rating of 7.7 out of 10. Its critically consensus reads, may not be as fresh as the original, but topical humor and colorful secondary characters make Shrek 2 a winner in its own right. Metacritic assigned Shrek 2 a score of 75 out of 100 based on 40 critics. And audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average of A on an A+ to F scale.
Not as fresh. What are they talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this one's better. I guess the first one is a very original concept, so you can't get that original again. But I think this improves on the first one.
I think so too. I think
this movie tackles a lot of adult themes, a lot of racism and like judging people and how they look and
like standards like that your parents put on you and this and the other.
And standards that society puts on you, and finding self-love and loving someone for who they are, and there's a lot of things. We'll get into it all, and
I think the writing is so good too. Like the comedy in this one, in my opinion, is so good.
Yes, there's a lot of really funny moments in this. My favorite is when the gingerbread man becomes big, and he's just like a parody of both Frankenstein and Godzilla.
Yeah,
even when he gets like shot with a fireball, they use the actual Godzilla scream.
They really do, don't they? That's so crazy. I forgot about that. Yeah,
and it's
been a while since we watched this one.
Yeah, it's been about a month. But yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
He's kind of dumb like Frankenstein. I think
so good,
we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
And then Shrek 2 also won several awards, and it was even nominated by the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Lost out to The Incredibles. So also another great movie.
A great one too. Yeah.
So rough summary of the plot before we get in it. You've seen Shrek 2 if you're watching this, but just as a refresher, Shrek and Fiona travel to the kingdom of far, far away, where Fiona's parents are king and queen to celebrate their marriage. When they arrive, they find they are not as welcome as they thought they would be.
Yeah. When I was younger, I didn't put two and two together that, far, far away is supposed to be LA.
Yeah.
I just like didn't know that, but like if you watch it now as like a grown person, it's pretty obvious. You
Oh
know
yeah,
what
they
I
got
mean?
like the far away in the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
There's like a Starbucks parody, and
Yeah.
all
I'm
those
trying to
things.
remember like something about like archery, like like Versace, but it's supposed to be like archery. I can't even remember what it is
Yeah,
now,
there's
but
one.
like
There's like a uh, what is it?
Versace.
Well, there's that, and then there's also like the Fifth and Saks or whatever. What is it?
Yeah, like Saks Fifth Avenue, but
Saks Fifth
but
Avenue.
it's like somehow like medieval. I
Yeah,
can't even remember
yeah.
now, but basically a lot of puns, you
There are
know.
so many tiny details in this movie. This is one of the first animated movies to have just crazy small background things like that.
Yeah.
Like there's there's a clip where you won't notice it unless you really look, but in the background of like Fiona and Shrek talking or something going on, there's a man climbing a ladder up to nothing, and then he just gets to the top and falls off. It's
What?
really funny, and you wouldn't notice it
I-
unless you're like looking for it. But there's so many little details like that, and there's like little signs that have like hidden jokes and adult jokes. One of the in the fairy godmother's like factory she has where she's making potions. One of them is Viagra.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of like little adult jokes hidden in the background of this movie, which is
I think
funny.
it's so good. Like there's
Yeah.
so much about it that's like so good. And then like I'm thinking about like the DVD where like this is the one where they had the like on the special features they had
Yes.
like Shrek American Idol where they had
Yes.
like fake Simon Cowell and you basically watched all their performances, and if you didn't choose the one that like they wanted you to choose, then it would just be Simon Cowell winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was great. 10 out of 10. Yeah, bring back special features, put them
I
on
agree.
Netflix.
We are having some technical difficulties, like I said, so I'm going to check my phone real quick, make sure it's still recording. We'll be right back. No time will pass for you, the viewer. Okay, so like we were saying, this has some pretty adult themes in it.
Mhm.
So this is, I believe this is taken from IMDb, but Shrek 2 uses its fairy tale setting to address societal issues such as prejudice and discrimination. The characters face challenges based on their appearances and learn important lessons about acceptance and embracing diversity. And I think one of the really cool ways they do that is Shrek in the last one, it's established that he is sort of this very selfish character, but it's like a defensive thing. Like he's lonely and sad and he wants to be accepted. I like in this one that they build upon that. I feel like in a worse movie, they would just make him more selfish. That's kind of what they do in the third and fourth one.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like they build upon that where now he has Fiona, he has Donkey, he has these people he loves.
Yeah.
And he wants their life to be
He's like
better.
protective of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's like, well, their life is, Fiona's life specifically is better if I'm human. Her parents will like me. She'll think I'm more attractive.
He's like doing it for her.
Yeah. And he like takes, even though he like kind of hates himself a little, he does take pride in himself being an ogre kind of. And so it's like he's willing to sacrifice that just to make her happy.
Right.
I liked that aspect of it, and I also like that she just, when she finds he's human, she's just not into it.
Exactly.
She's like,
well, it's also because it's like, so like obviously like the premise is like she discovers that she's human somehow again, but then like Prince Charming acts like he's Shrek.
Yeah.
And so like she can tell that he Shrek is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she already doesn't like it. You
Yeah.
know? And so anyway, at the end of it, she ends up being like, we need to be back to the ogre, or I need to be back with the ogre I married or something like that. So it's like she would rather be an ogre with him than like human with him.
Yeah. It's like it confirms that she was never not attracted to him.
It was never about that. Like it was about him like as an ogre, I guess.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that he was now human. Like she wanted him to be his true self. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's nice. And that also like being an ogre is her true self too. So she's
apparently,
like, so she's like, why did you take this away from us? I appreciate that you did this, but let's go back to our life. I think a worse movie wouldn't have handled that as well.
Yeah.
Like you actually feel like even as an adult watching this, you're like, that's nice. That's like a sweet message.
It's very, And I really do think that like the writing in this is so good. I'm thinking about my favorite parts. Like, the scene where they're all sitting down after they arrive to Far, Far Away, where they're all eating dinner, and like Fiona's dad and Shrek are going at it, and like they all start yelling each other's names at the end of it. And like Shrek, Fiona, Harold is the king's name.
Yeah,
Harold, and then Donkey's like Donkey, and so stupid. You just have to watch the clip. I'm not even explaining it very well. And then,
everybody remembers. Yeah. And that's also just a credit to Eddie Murphy. Just delivering every line so well. In this.
Yeah,
It's so
his
funny.
voice is really iconic as
Yeah.
Donkey specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was revealed this week that, and as well as getting Shrek 5, we're also getting a Donkey spinoff movie, the way they did the Puss in Boots movie too.
That'd be kind of slay.
Yeah.
Shrek 5, what else do they have to say? That's so crazy.
I don't know. It's been like 15 years.
I know, right?
I'm sure they've had time to come up with the story.
Yeah, maybe their kids are now like teens or something crazy like that.
Maybe so.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's so much about this that's so good.
Yeah.
Especially like the back and forth, like whenever Shrek and Fiona first get to Far, Far Away, and like everyone's expecting them to be like human, and clearly it's a surprise to like Fiona's parents because like the whole time they thought that Prince Charming was supposed to be like have saved her, and this is the first time that they've seen her, you know what I mean, since then.
Yeah.
And so they get there and it's like these two ogres and like and they like the back and forth between both of them as they're like walking up to Fiona's parents. That was good.
Yeah. Also, like on the way there, where Donkey's just like, "Oh, we're there yet? We're there yet?" And then it's like,
I remember that so vividly from my
Shrek's like,
childhood.
entertain yourself, and he's just that.
Yeah.
And then his snout just like goes up in between them, and just.
And then he's like, "Oh, are we there yet?" And then Fiona's like, "Yes." And then they end up being there. And anyway, I just think the flow of it's so good, and there's never like a dull moment, and it all like it's not disjointed at all. Like,
well,
it
benefits from having a short runtime. It's a hour and 33 minutes. So to me, that's perfect for a kids movie. Keep it short and breezy,
and for me too, apparently.
Just movies. We watched Challengers this week, and there's so much slow mo in that, and I was just like, TikTok has ruined my brain. Why am I watching Zendaya blink in slow motion? Let's get it going.
I was like, can we hurry this up? Like, I get it, you know what I mean? So maybe that's attention span's ass now, but.
We also get several new characters in this, and I think they're all really solid.
I love the fairy godmother. Prince Charming is so like he's so stupid and it's so good. Like,
he's such a great
dumb,
he's not the main villain,
yeah.
but he's a great villain in that he's opposite of Lord Farquaad. Where Lord Farquaad, they're both silly and dumb, but Lord Farquaad is very like conniving and competent. Like he was always like planning. Prince Charming is like so stupid he can't do anything on his own.
And
he's just like
he does
puppet,
it, for the fairy godmother, and that's reminding me of that scene where, because like essentially fairy godmother is supposed to be like this mob boss essentially.
Yeah, she's like this capitalist, and also mob boss. Like she owns a factory and there's no unions and stuff, but she's also a mob boss and gets them in the back of
and
a limo
a celebrity
and
too, I guess. So it gets Harold the King into the back of the her flying limo, I guess, her flying carriage. And between these two big dudes who are supposed to be her mob henchmen. And anyway, so they stop by like the basically White Castle in Far, Far Away. and he asks for like the kids meal, and it comes with this big anvil, or what is it, like the chopping thing?
Yeah, it was like a giant axe.
I thought that was I thought it was so stupid. And she was like, before that, leading up to it, because you don't know that they arrived there, it's supposed to be like this very tense scene where like you don't know where they're at. He may be getting offed or whatever.
Yeah.
Like she's like, "You're making me do something I really don't want to do," and then she's like, "Ruin my diet," and then orders fast food and the kids meal for Prince Charming, who's like probably 28 in this movie. So silly. I love it. I love silly stuff like that.
Yeah. So
anyway, so I just think what you're saying. The villains are great. The characters, Harold, apparently, I guess, used to be a frog, is what you find out at the end.
Yeah, and he also used some magic to become a human.
Yeah, and to become king, which is what the fairy godmother blackmails him with, because I guess she helped him become king. Yeah, is what they're kind of alluding to.
She's pulling the strings all over like Far, Far Away, which is fun.
From behind the scenes. Yeah.
While we're talking about her, Jennifer Saunders is who voices the fairy godmother. And she actually did all the singing herself for this character.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. So, which is great. And then Rupert Everett plays Prince Charming, and he's also great. He's just this fun, dumb.
The voice is so good.
Yeah.
Like it comes off as very much like pretty boy. Like gets everything done for him. It's so good. Yeah.
I didn't put their names down. It's big actors. I just can't think of them. But the ones who voiced the king and queen, they did all their lines together, which is very unusual for a movie like this. But they got in the same room and record them together.
I
And
think that works better.
yeah, you can kind of they feel like a married couple that kind of are annoyed with each other and been together too long.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta think.
Speaking of them, I'm remembering that line about like Harold gets surprised by like fairy godmother rolling up to his balcony, and he like is trying to hide it from the queen, and he's like, oh, the old crusade injury is acting up. Oh my god, crusades exist in this universe. That's so stupid. Anyway, yeah.
Also, King Charles would exist in this universe too at this number because he pops up in a mirror, just like the human version, not even animated. He pops up in a musical.
So in this world, fairy tales exist, and then additionally, so do the Crusades, and additionally,
Britain.
King Charles. Love it.
Also to the core cast, we add Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. He is
so
excellent as is in everything, but he's just doing Zorro again, which is great.
That's I love it. I'll eat it up every time. Yeah. And that's essentially the same character that he was in Spy Kids, except just Latino spy man. You know what I mean? And that movie was good too. Yeah. I have very vivid memories of that movie too.
He actually, in this, when they did the Spanish dub, he just did all his lines again because he obviously speaks Spanish. He speaks Spanish, which is cool, and it means he probably got paid twice, which I'm sure he liked. But that's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to see the new Puss in Boots movie. I've heard it's incredible.
I've heard it's pretty good too. Yeah. That scene where like they first meet. First of all, why is Puss in Boots supposed to be an assassin? Question mark. Maybe because he's a cat, but and like very conniving and like fast, I guess.
I like that reveal too. That he's built up as this like
very evil person. Like he's King Harold has to meet him like in the back of the bar where all the the villains go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And supposed to be this very evil person, and then like. shows up to try and like I guess assassinate Shrek, and he's a cat, and then in order to like get Shrek's sympathy, he like puts on the cat eyes. Very cute, cute though. So.
It's also canon that he is an ogre slayer. He has killed dozens of ogres.
Yeah, so I don't really know why this one was different, but it serves the plot. You know what I
mean? Yeah. Well, Shrek, I don't know if all the ogres like this, but Shrek's like sort of bulletproof. He gets shots with arrows and just pulls them out. Yeah, so I don't know if all the ogres are like
canon.
that.
I don't know. Yeah. we need some ogre lore dropped in this one.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I can assume is that whenever he's found ogres in the past, he sneaks up on them and kills them.
I guess that's the only thing I could think of.
Just got lucky.
Yeah, I don't know. That has to be it. But then he announced himself. Whatever. I'm trying not to look too deep into it. You know what I mean? This is a kids movie.
Oh yeah,
it serves the plot for him to not do that.
I do think it's funny that he has killed several ogres, like canonically. Like
that's canon.
It's not implied; it is stated. So coming back, of course, we got Mike Myers as Shrek. He is just as great in this one as he is in the first. He's this is his most iconic character in my opinion.
Aside from Austin Powers, I guess.
I think this is bigger. Yes, I think this is bigger than that.
I personally agree, but
yes, people now. About Shrek, kids know it. Yes, kid about Austin Powers, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, that's fair. Yeah.
Same with Eddie Murphy back as Donkey. Incredible.
Iconic.
He says this is his best character. It's definitely up there.
Agree. Yeah.
It's definitely his most fun character.
Yeah. There's that scene. I'm just talking about favorite parts at this point, but there's the part where they like take the serum to like make them, I guess, human, because I can't remember what the serum was actually called, or like the potion, happily ever after potion or whatever. And so I guess that meant making them human. Well,
making them the ideal versions of themselves. Donkey turns into a stallion.
Yes.
They actually said, they didn't put this in the movie, but they said that it turns you into your ideal version and the person you love.
Their ideal version.
The dragon, it turned into a Pegasus, but you don't see that.
Oh, damn. Yeah, but yeah, I try not to think about the logistics of Donkey being with a dragon, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not thinking about that. But anyway, there's that scene where Donkey has obviously turned to a stallion, and he's like explaining to Fiona what happened, and he's like, me and Shrek, we drank a potion, and now we're sexy. And they say like that. So stupid. Anyway, it's just so crazy. Anyway, that's one of my favorite lines.
There's so many great lines in this. Speaking of Fiona, Cameron Diaz returns. She's better in this one. She's way less wooden. She's more comfortable. I'll be interested when we get around to the third and we're going to do the third and fourth one right before 5 comes out. So there'll be about a year break before we get back to these. But I'll be interested to see if that continues. I'm sure it continues to improve. She gets more comfortable.
Yeah.
But big improvement on this one, I think. So you may have noticed that the animation is a lot cleaner in this one. Part of that's due to a bigger budget, but also technology is improving. They also invented technology for this. They
I
couldn't
was
get
gonna say it looked pretty good.
it looks really good. So they
Yeah.
couldn't get with the technology at the time. They couldn't get the fur to look right on Puss in Boots. So they had to just like invent it themselves, and they were able to kind of do this with the animation team.
It ages really well because of that, because it doesn't look weird or anything.
It doesn't. Yeah, and the first one
yeah.
looks a little wonky. This one looks pretty solid.
Yeah.
And that technology also helped bring the characters to life in like a new way. Like for instance, Shrek has like 158 CGI muscles in his face in this one, so he can do all kinds of like it's little things like smile and lines and wrinkles that you didn't have in the first one. That makes it look a lot more realistic.
I'm not even gonna act like I even know how CGI works. I don't even know. I don't know how. I cannot even conceptualize that. It's like how I don't understand that Bluetooth. How does that work? I don't. I can't even begin to think about that. Like, how does anyone animate anything? But anyway, I'm sure that probably makes a difference.
Yeah, it made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And this movie, it helps boost that, like for other animated movies to get better. And also, this movie's credited with, like we were talking about, this one has adult themes. This one is credited with helping animation, other movies in animation become more like adult theme and more serious. And that directly translated to Pixar and some other things that we're already doing that, but we're emboldened to like take it a step further.
I was gonna say maybe it showed that like you can have like adult themes so that like everyone can enjoy it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to just be a kids movie.
You feel it, like you can feel it, and maybe it would have happened regardless. But I think it's possible this helped. You can feel it with like Toy Story 3, how deeper that movie feels than Toy Story 2. I gotta check the phone again. Hold on. Okay, so we do have to hurry because the phone's about to die.
Oh shit. Okay.
We would.
What was I saying? I don't even remember. What was I saying? Oh, I was just gonna add. I feel like that. I really felt that in like Inside Out. Like I didn't realize. First of all, that movie's old, so I'm late to it. Yeah, but I feel like that also, has a lot of like adult themes, but it's also like obviously a kids movie, and so. We both thought it was good, but it's mainly for kids. So it's like, it's still true to like even 10 years ago. I guess now too, because Inside Out 2 just came out. So
yeah, which we got to watch. So.
Yeah. So obviously we're still writing a lot, or we're still like living up to that, as including like adult themes in kids movies so that adults can see it and, have a good time and enjoy it,
Yeah. And that makes it better. And it makes parents more willing to go watch something that they're also going to enjoy.
Yeah.
We would be remiss not to talk about the Shrek soundtrack. We can't talk about Shrek without the soundtrack.
Always iconic. I can't remember one right now, but I mean, like the first one was great. So I can't remember off
the
top of my
soundtrack
head,
for Shrek 2 was composed solely by Harry Greason Williams, who returned after composing the score for the first film. The soundtrack reached the 8th position on the U.S. Billboard 200 and first on the U.S. soundtracks. It also features 2 versions of the 1980s Bonnie Tyler hit "Holding Out for a Hero." I need a hero.
Yes, I was just okay. Now that you're saying that, now I'm remembering. Yeah, that song, iconic.
Yeah, so one of the film songs, "Accidentally in Love," received nominations for the Academy Award for Best Original Song, Golden Globe.
That was an original song.
Yeah, well, not "I Need a Hero," but this other one.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Golden Globe Award for Best Original Song and the Grammy Award for Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television, or Other Visual Media. So
that song is so good, though. I didn't know it was an original. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, made for this.
Wow.
Let's see. We have some other things here.
I Need a Hero is a good one. That one is so iconic for like that scene where like he's trying to get to Fiona. Fairy Godmother singing it. Yeah. That's the one, right? Yeah. So good.
So Shrek 2 had 5 video games based off of it.
And you know what? I probably played every single one of them.
So the first one is Shrek 2, is what it's called.
Yeah.
Shrek 2 Activity Center Twisted Fairy Tale Fun. Shrek 2 Beg for Mercy, Shrek Super Slam, and Shrek Smash and Crash Racing.
Okay, so just the first one.
It also had a novelization called Shrek 2, the movie storybook, which was published by Scholastic. And there are, of course, 2 more sequels after this, one of which we'll come back to in the weeks leading up to Shrek 5.
Yeah.
Some IMDb trivia. You ready?
Sure am.
The producers swear that when they decided to put a Justin Timberlake poster above Princess Fiona's bed, they had no idea that Cameron Diaz had just started dating the singer in real life.
That is crazy. I forgot about that piece of lore. Yeah. I remember thinking that was so funny. Like I don't even know. I think they say, or like it's a photo of obviously Justin Timberlake. Yeah, Sir Justin is what it is. Yeah.
Timberlake was given a role in Shrek the Third. the next one.
Why? I'm sorry, he sucks.
This is when he was still popular.
You're right. This is his prime back then.
Timberlake. Saw that clip the other day.
Oh, he's so. First of all, recently got arrested for a DUI in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And tried to be like, oh, this is so bad for the tour. And the police officer was so young that he didn't know what it meant. Yeah. He said, what tour? And he was like, the world tour. and honestly, if I didn't know that who someone was, like, I would have thought that they were like mentally insane. I would have sent them to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this guy thinks he's a
okay,
pop
buddy.
star. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, all that to say, Justin Timberlake sucks, but during this time, everyone loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this was right after NSYNC, I think.
Yeah, 2004.
Yeah. So.
This was the first sequel ever nominated for an Oscar as Best Animated Feature. It's pretty cool.
I didn't even know the Oscars had that.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, it's pretty good.
In Fairy Godmother's factory, some workers are putting potion bottles on a conveyor belt. One of the bottles is marked Viagra or Plum Viagra, like we said.
Well, also, not to discount that because that's crazy. Viagra is crazy, but also, who won the best animated film? That's right. We said that.
Yeah,
I completely forgot. Yeah, that one.
Which is
that
to this day the best Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, is it supposed to be Fantastic Four?
It's definitely a play on them, you know.
Oh,
it's four of them. One of them stretchy, one of them strong.
Oh, you're
one
right.
Of them, it does
fire and fast. And yeah, you're right. Yeah. But additionally, I still haven't seen Incredibles 2. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's great. You should watch it.
It's
not as good as the first one, but it's almost as good.
Yeah.
So worth seeing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Young artist Butterfly Boucher, I don't know, recorded a new version of David Bowie's Changes specifically for this movie. Bowie was so impressed with his rendition that he provided backing vocals on it. That's really cool.
You know what? Isn't that the one that they're like human Shrek is riding into town? Is that song? Yeah. That one's so good too. Yeah.
When Mongo, that's the big giant gingerbread man, which is so funny, is hit by the flaming catapult ball, you hear the original Japanese Godzilla roar.
I wondered how it sounded like really familiar. Yeah.
A couple of kids during a test screening asked the writer and director Andrew Adamson what Dragon turned into. Adamson said that Dragon turned into a Pegasus, a horse with wings.
I mean, they could have said anything. I mean, he's not. They're not. Dragon's not in the movie, so it's like you never. You won't know for sure. But.
There were like plans for it to be in, but just like to keep it short, they cut it. So like, what do you do with it? You know, she's not like really a part of the plot, so you didn't really just cut to it.
That's fair.
Production began before Shrek 1 was even completed, which is crazy. That means they had a lot of faith in the first one.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Shrek's face is so expressive because it has 218 working CGI muscles in it, even more than I said. So
I mean, that could be anything to me. I have no idea. I have no concept of
it was really
helps.
Impressive for the time. And Shrek's human form is the last one. Shrek's human form intentionally resembles his voice actor Mike Myers, which it does. It's like a beefed up version of him.
I was gonna say he has a little bit of a bigger jaw.
Yeah, he's kind of a beefy, hunky version, but you can see some of the resemblance in there. Yeah.
I think I don't even remember what Michael Myers looks like, to be honest.
Mike Myers.
Sorry, Michael Myers is the killer.
It's
an unfortunate name to have in real life, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe he looked like that back then.
No,
because now
he looked like
now he's older.
Yeah.
He's 61. He has white hair now, apparently.
Last question: does this hold up?
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It definitely does. This is the peak of these movies. It's downhill from here.
Yeah, it really is.
Boots, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, the third and fourth one, I couldn't tell you what either one of those are about, but I know the plots of the first and second one.
Yeah. Next week, it's my pick, and in honor of Shark Week and summer blockbusters, I thought we would do the first ever blockbuster, 1975's Jaws. So
can't wait. So excited.
You ever watched it?
I don't really like shark movies, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So no, I have not.
I know this is the best one.
There's that one with Blake Lively.
Yeah,
like whatever, 40 feet under, some shit like that. So I don't know. Anything that has to do with a worst fear that anyone could have, I'm not gonna be watching that movie. There's that one about being stuck high up in the air. You know I'm gonna hate that.
Yeah.
Being stuck underwater, hate that. Stuck in a refrigerator and then stuck in like a heat box. There's movies about all those things.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any of them, especially not the one where Blake Lively. And there's another one where Blake Lively. No, think of a different one. There's one about being stuck underwater in a shark cage, but then there's another one about being stuck on like one of those buoys.
Yeah, that's the Blake Lively one.
Yeah, so I haven't seen any of those. That anyway. So no, I haven't seen Jaws.
Well, this is better than all those. This is like
Perfect.
an actual story, not just somebody hanging out for an hour and a half.
Good.
Yeah.
Love that.
And what I'm excited about to talk about is the making of it is insane. Like
Yeah.
how they put it together is wild. So.
I don't love how like movies have like made sharks into like these evil creatures though.
I do.
Oh, okay. That's fine then.
No, you're right.
Like, because then people just hunt them down just to do it. Like, oh, these evil, like
We
they're
would
just
have
animals
hunted them down either way.
or fish, whatever. Are they fish? I don't even know.
Yes.
I don't know anything about sharks.
I don't know if they're fish, but they're not mammals.
I need to start watching Shark Week.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for sticking around, coming back after a long, much needed break.
Yeah, we had to do some things, including remodel, and we just had to get into it. And I think it looks a lot better now. If you're not watching the video, then sorry about it.
Yeah.
You just have to keep checking it out.
Like, if the video's still going, I can't tell. I also am not confident that
Glitter
it's
on your
recording.
lips?
So
Okay,
it's a
great.
very good chance we're going to be recording
One
one
case.
Just be a good practice. If
What is
need be.
with you?
But thank you all for listening, for watching, for subscribing, for liking and commenting, for
C-minus.
telling a
C-minus.
friend. Thank you.
And if you're gonna blow up our
Ladies and
Facebook, don't do that. But send maybe one nice.
Yeah.
I'd
We
like
don't-
to dedicate this song to
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, leave it.
Fiona
Um,
and Prince
Yeah. So yeah, like, comment,
Fiona,
subscribe,
princess.
share.
we'll be
honor
back
me
with
with dance.
Jaws.
Where have all the good men
This one is so good.
gone and where are all the gold?
Her voice is so good.
Where's the streetwise
I can't believe this is the actress's voice.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sounds great.
It's so good.
Isn't there a
Since when do you dance?
Fiona, my dearest, if there's one thing I know, it's that love is full of surprises.
I just want to listen to the whole thing.
I toss and I turn and
I thought it would just be the song. Oh. Wow.
Love is full of surprises. Huh? What do you? That would piss me off if I was